If you don't think Candlepin's a sport, you obviously haven't done it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good intro right there.
Thank you.
Should have caught that a little sooner. And welcome
I
to
did.
it.
I did. I got it. I think
know.
it's on there. It's on there.
Welcome to episode 138 of Ripping the Rack podcast. I am your host, Tim. With me today, we've got Mr. Calvin 206, King of the North. Calvin, how you doing, bud?
Special name just for our special guest. 206.
And we have he is south, but not as far south as our special guest, Mr. Coastal Crusader, Brian Athearn. Brian, how you doing, bud?
I'm great. I hope everyone is having a good week. It is March Madness. I've watched so much basketball, and that UConn women's game that just got done was amazing.
Oh, I totally missed it. I was watching the
It was
Mackenzie Holmes.
It was a 3-point game with a minute to go, and UConn pulled away, but it was really good.
The Indiana-Oklahoma game is 66-64. Indiana with a minute left. So Mackenzie Holmes from Maine is obviously in that.
Sweet.
And I suppose we should we should introduce our special guest. He is a Hall of Fame Candlepin Bowler. He's a multi-time world champion. He is a multi-time state champion, multi-state champion. He is a multi-time Pro Tour champion, a multi-time Pro Series champion. The words there are champion and Hall of Famer. He is arguably one of the greatest lefties to ever bowl, and he is in my top 3 of all-time bowlers to step foot on the lane. Mr. Craig Holbrook, how's that for an introduction right there?
Oh, that's awesome. I hope everybody appreciates the fun I had with the little props that I got.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yep. Mike Legendre gave me the Holbrook Lane sign. There was a street sign that they didn't need anymore. They were replacing them all. So he gave it to me. I cherish that. I think that's awesome. I live on a lane anyways. I live on Trudeau Lane. So a bowler that lives on a lane.
God.
Well, there you go.
That's awesome.
You don't want to be associated with Trudeau. Trust me. It's not a Trudeau anything is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But if you want money,
Lexi gave me the shirt for free. And of course, that's one of the Easter trophies right there too. I had to bring that out of the basement. I had to clean it up, but it's there.
Nice.
Tis the season.
So we're gonna start with Calvin so we can talk about a little bit about what's going on up in Canada. I'll talk about a little bit what's going on down here. But we're not going to spend a whole heck of a lot of time, so we can spend a little bit of time with Mr. 508 down there, and he can tell the funny story about that 508. So, Calvin, let's start with you. What's going on up in Canada?
Up in Canada, we had a couple tournaments this past weekend. The Earl McCully singles tournament. I think they had 64 bowlers. I can't remember the exact count. Somebody may come up and find out and let me know. But it was a very, very tight finish. Brett Watson took it home with a 9-string total of 1199. Second place was Dave LeBlanc with 1197, and third place was Eric Richards with 1194. It came down to the very last box. Brett Watson got up in the 10th box, and he was the last one to be done. He needed 16 pins, in the last box, and he threw a spare and put 8 on it to win by 2. So, congratulations, Brett. Good bowling all day. So that was the Earl McCully. The Bunny Mason, I think that's what it's called. The Bunny Mason and Friends tournament just happened over the weekend, the women's tournament. They had a 5-way tie for first place. They had a 5-way roll-off. Seems to be a new trend going on in tournaments because that's the second one.
I was going to say, isn't that the second one up there that's had a 5-team roll-off?
Never seen it before, and it's the second time in like a month or 2 months, or the last 2 tournaments. So a big 5-way roll-off. Laura and Trudy's girls ended up winning that 5-way roll-off by 3 pins. Beaver Slaps ended up in second place. Jill and Tasha, they're something else, those two. Deadwood Divas ended up third, Alley Cats fourth, Strike Force 5th. The top 3 averages and winning the Bunny Mason Award for top average was Melissa with 125 average.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I believe, from what I know, that is only the first day because she ended up with a little food poisoning on Saturday night. So unfortunately, she wasn't able to bowl the Sunday, but 125 average for the first 8 or 9 strings or whatever they did. That's wicked bowling. And the top local average winner of the Garnett Wambach Award for the local average was Dawn Dickens at 106. So congratulations to all the women and that fun tournament. I heard it was run really well. And I heard everybody had a lot of fun. So that's always good to hear. Coming up this weekend, the Good Friday singles and skins at Heather Lane's. I seen her make a post there. I think they were looking for 5 or 6 more bowlers to fill the place. So sign up with Heather Lane's in New Glasgow. Laurel, you can catch her on Facebook. On the calendar, I don't know if that's still a thing, but the Scotch Doubles at Bayers Road is on the 30th. And the next weekend is the Valley Mixed at Avon Valley Lanes, April 6th and 7th. And the best 5 of 7, April 20th at Unbelievable Lanes. And then April 20th and 21st is the 460 at Bowlerama. So a few tournaments coming up, but congratulations to all the people that won this weekend. And that's Canada. I got that done in like record time. I think that was like 3 minutes. I think I killed that. I think I just ran through that. I killed that.
That was good, Kelvin.
Yeah.
That was good. Let's see. We've got some things coming up down here in America. Whoa, is that me? Holy smokes!
Could have been Craig.
I think it might have been me. Found a way to shut that off.
That's all right. It just bothered Tim. Didn't bother me any. So
Tim has attention problems. So.
I do. I have squirrel moments, and I'm starting to. So long story short is I had my first steroid epidural today for my back. And now I can really start to feel where they did it. I hadn't felt anything because it was under Novocaine or lidocaine or felt great. And now as I sit here, I'm like, it feels like someone just punched me, right? Anyway, let's see. Sean Sears. See, this is what I love about this. When you ask people to send you something and they turn around and actually do it. Sean, thank you very much for sending this over. We have a status update on the Joan. Oh my, why does he do this to me? Yamalski? Yeah. I apologize, Joan, or the family of Joan, for really butchering her last name. It is a memorial bowling tournament, 2 separate events. As of right now, on April 6th, they are full at 16 teams. They are at only 7 teams currently for April 20th. So there is room on the April 20th day. Contact Sean Sears. That is Saturdays, April 6th, April 20th. Check-in at 9, lane draw at 9:30, first ball at 10, $375 team registration. I'm not going to go through all the rules. You can find that on Candlepin chat or reach out to Sean. We have an update. I know people have asked about the ICBA Hall of Fame edits. Greg has posted. They are going to be released on Candlepin Bowling Network as a playlist with individual segments so that you can appreciate each inductee. I will go on and say I hated my speech. I forgot my speech at home. I printed off the wrong speech. So as Brian knows, I tried to go off memory. And by the time I got back to my chair, I was like, oh, shit, I forgot half the people I wanted to thank. So just remember that if you listen to mine, even though it's long and it'll put people to sleep. We have congratulations to Scott LaPierre. He was the Pro Series singles knockout winner. He rolled strings of 133 and 107 in the final over Dean Sullivan. That is Scott's sixth Pro. Jesus, I cannot talk tonight. Pro Series titles. So, and congratulations to Lori Lewis for winning the ladies event as well. And the last one I have before we talk about Easter and all that type of stuff, We have the overnighter at Spare Time was, I believe, Saturday night. Full house of 36 bowlers. And the winner went to, where'd it go? Sorry, it was
The winner went to, oh shit.
Aaron Fontaine ended up holding on with a 1327 scratch. Handicap was 1367. Was a 3-pin win over Matt DePiro. Tony Iannuzzi was third, Billy Shiner fourth, and Mark Capone fifth. So great bowling. Aaron, from all intents and purposes, I guess he had to hold off, according to Eric, had to hold off a furious challenge from Matt. So great job, Aaron. Congratulations on that. Which leads us to Easter Sunday.
Well, don't forget about the ripping the rack.
Oh yes,
drywall concepts.
We have the second annual State of Maine Ripping the Rack Augusta 160 Drywall Concepts 560. That is coming up.
I really do love that name.
April
420.
April what?
20th.
20th.
April 20th.
That's why I'm saying 420.
420.
I'm coming up for that.
Yes, you are, Craig.
Yes.
So
what kind of sandbagging average did he take? Hold on here.
I have Craig Holbrook down as a 103. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but
I'm taking a 97 then.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That'll be a fun. Craig's team will be a fun team to watch. Matt Nichols, Fernando Gacharna, Brittany Underwood, Carl Witham, and Craig Holbrook. So they'll be a fun team to watch. There's some. I tell you what. There's out of the 16 teams, I want to say at least 12 of them, right off the top of my head, from what I can see, are within 2 pins of each other. So between 558 and 560, we have one team at the exact 560. Those cheating bastards of Brian Ather and Calvin Locke, Amanda Label, Chris Merrill, and Natalie Stubbs.
No,
they are.
That was a really competitive tournament last year. My team finished in like a 19-way tie for second. No, I'm kidding. It was like a 7-way tie for second, but
yeah,
it was really close.
It was, and the cool thing is that was our first year running it. We made some probably mistakes, and
we made choices and decisions. We made choices.
We did, and but we learned from it, and I really think that I think this year is going to be better, and I think every year is going to make it better as we do this. So, Craig, I love the fact that you guys are coming up. There's people coming from Canada coming down. They're from all over the Candlepin universe coming to this. So I am not bowling in it, but I will be running it with Mark, helping him run it and acting as the de facto tournament director. So
all complaints go to Tim.
Sure. It's just like my job. I'm okay with that. I've got thick skin and broad shoulders. A bad back, but thick skin and broad shoulders. So I'm okay. It's going to be a hell of a tournament. I've gotten almost all the rosters are in. I think there's one team that's waiting on an answer from one person. So really looking forward to it. So Craig, we're all going to shut up now. We're going to let you regale us with stories.
Well, first, the 508 on the bottom there is my area code from southeastern Massachusetts. And it's my high triple, which is the New Hampshire state record still. It's holding on for dear life, but it's still there.
So you have the New Hampshire state 508. I don't remember the reasoning why, and I'm grateful for this because I have the Maine state. I've got it with Herbie Myers with 502. So I'm grateful that yours and Mark Gregory's weren't recognized, but those were what, 505?
Yes, both. And they were during the World Tournament too. So I
remember
it was because Charlie never got the lanes like inspected after the tournament or something like that. Something had to happen and it didn't. I mean, it's okay. I know we both have it. we've taken a picture with each other having it. So
Yeah, but I
have
like
the
the fact that
Canadian
it's my
reference.
name up on there, though. So, and I'm holding on for dear life as well. Let's put it that way. There's been a few times I thought that thing was gonna fall. So
when it extends out 20 years, then you start to get worried because somebody's bound to get it.
it's been actually it'll be 20 years as of April 26th. Will be 20 years. No, 30 years as of April 26th. I did it in April 26th.
You did that at the end of a season?
Huh?
You did that at the end of a season?
Yep. It was the last night of the regular season.
Is that the same night that you beat the guy by 100 pins when he threw his first ever 400?
And he never picked up a bowling ball afterwards. He made the comment. He said,
it's a good way to go out, I guess.
He hit 400 on the dot, first time in his life. Looked at the scores and goes, I just bowled 400 for the first time in my life and lost by 102 pins. I'm never bowling again.
You're so mean.
It's not for everybody.
I didn't do it on purpose. Well, I mean, I wanted to, but I didn't do it to get him to quit. Craig, you've got 3 500s, though. What's your other one's in Mass, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at Academy Lanes on the Friday Night League. It was a 501.
Jesus.
That's the house record, I guess, too, I think. It was on the other side. You know, like Academy has like the middle, and then they did the new bar and the right side. It was on the left side, like where the little 8-lane section is.
Yeah.
The green and yellow room, right?
Yeah, they refurbished it. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
So, have you guys always bowled over on that side in the Pro League?
Yes,
the Friday nights?
because they usually do rock and bowl in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have a lot of people there on a Friday night for that.
Oh, I bet.
They do.
I mean,
I've been there a couple times. There's a lot of people there Friday nights.
Yeah.
So we've got Easter Sunday, which means the Easter Classic, which is what I'm going to say, I think it's arguably the largest singles tournament in the game. I think.
I mean, if you don't count Worlds usually gets 90 to 100 people almost every year. It's not the most financially, but the World Singles usually gets a good 90 to 100 people every year.
Okay, so I can ask you guys this question, the same question I asked Kristen Surrett. I equal this tournament with the Masters. And to me, bowling and golf and the Masters and the Easter tournament, that's equals with me. So the Masters, you get a green jacket. What color jacket do you win for the Easter Classic?
It's got to be a pastel. It's got to be like a pastel purple.
With a no. It's got to be like this. A white one, like a white shirt with a red stripe right in the middle. Like a candlepin.
That's good.
Yeah.
Kristen said yellow, so I'm thinking pastel yellow she meant, but yeah.
I think like I hate to use a Happy Gilmore gold jacket.
A gold jacket, yeah.
But
green jacket, gold jacket.
I think the gold jacket or pastel yellow jacket, because it's Easter. I mean, Easter is always to me is pastel colors and whatnot.
Right. It has to be an Easter egg color.
Craig, I think you're probably right.
If the trophy wasn't so iconic, you should. You know how they have the theme trophy? You should get a little egg, like you hold it up. It's like a little egg, or an Easter basket, like with pins in it.
I like that concept, Craig. I think you're right. If you look at, so I never got the chance to bowl Easter. I shouldn't say never got the chance. I had the chance every year to bowl. I chose
pussy.
Pussy. I chose.
I mean, it's a huge commitment if you think about it, not only for Calvin for the travel, but it takes like what 12, 13 hours now to bowl
it's a long day.
Yeah.
We didn't finish till almost 1:30 because people were telling me I stayed up till 2:30 to watch you lose. So it was it was about 1:30 we finished last year. Yeah. It's a long day.
I think it ended at 1:15 last year. I stayed to the very end.
Yeah, I think if you take out Most guys don't. I think if you take out the hour break and only give it like half an hour, might go a little quicker. But I think you could also start at 10 o'clock in the morning. Like, you don't need to start at 11.
Do you think so did it, Craig, do you know if it started at 11 in difference to your churchgoers? They could go to,
that was part of it, yeah.
Okay.
I think the early years started at noon, maybe.
Probably because of the kids' Easter egg hunts too. Like that way you could still do those at like 8, 9 o'clock and then get over the lanes still.
Yeah. Church did have something to do with that later start.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a couple of chances. The kids were younger and I was bowling well and various little things would pop up, something called work, work might pop up or something like that. So
who needs work? I
know it is. I don't have a lot of regrets when it comes to bowling, but that honestly, that is one of them is, that I didn't bowl and I was looking forward to it. And then my back has done my back things. So if they can get it fixed and I can reasonably do it, then I'll try it next year just to say I did it. So we'll see. That's next year.
I did it 30 times.
30 times. Tell us where you finished in each one. I'm sure you remember from 1 to 30.
I actually have a list over there of like the first 25, but I don't know the last few years. You want to do it quick?
Yeah, if you got it.
Absolutely.
Okay, first year,
You won it on your first year?
Yes, I did. Yes. All right, hold on. I have to tell that story then.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
I love
so
it.
This is why we're here.
Yep.
All right. The first one they held, Gary Carrington won, and I had heard about it, a 20-string tournament. I thought to myself, that's crazy. It's hard enough just to bowl 10, not 20. I'm thinking, what does this prove? It's, a marathon. So I was like, no, not going to do it. This sounds stupid to me. Not going to do it. So the next year comes around and it's 2 weeks or so away from Easter. And Hal Larson, the bowling alley owner from East Weymouth Bowlerway, comes up to me and says, Craig, you going to bowl Easter? I'm like, no, 20 strings. I'm not doing that. That's crazy. He goes, I'll pay your entry fee, but you have to give me half of what you win. So I said to him, I says, what's half of 0? I'm not going to win anything. Are you kidding me? So the first 3 strings go by and I have like 327 for 3. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, what did I get myself into? This is not funny. I still have 17 more strings to go and what's going to happen? And even Johnny Miller, Western Mass Johnny Miller, kind of said to me, he says, oh, Craig, that's kind of a disappointment. You're starting out the first 3 that bad and, you got to go the rest of the day. Do you feel like going home? And I'm like, well, no, I'm going to finish this out. And I ended up bowling like 13 or 14 strings in a row, like 138 or higher. And next thing you know, I ended up winning. So it was crazy.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
All right. So the next, I can do them quick.
Yeah.
The next year I finished 14th, then 4th, then 1st again. I suppose I can tell that story too. Okay. Dave Dupuy is already shaking hands with Tom Ulster and a whole bunch of his friends. Now I have 5 boxes to go. I don't know what he bowled the last string. He was like 8 lanes over from me. I have no idea.
Okay, hold on.
I have 5 boxes to go.
He pre-shook hands that he won?
Yes. So I have 5 boxes to go.
Keep going. Yeah.
And I finished with 5 20 boxes in a row. 100 half at the end to win by, 12 maybe. But
in your 20th string with the guy already in pocket, shaking hands.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing though. Dave and I, I got it back for him. We got it back together as a team. We bowled on a mixed team together in that mixed worlds. We ended up winning twice together. So that was worth 10,000. So he got, the 1,800 whatever cut. So he got some of the money back. And the funny thing is afterwards, that was the year he was getting married and he was trying to get furniture and stuff together for wherever he was going to live in his new house. So he was giving me the whole bum and, oh, Craig, you took money away from me story. And we were friends at the time too. So I did feel bad, but then I felt good because I won. So it was kind of.
Craig, what year was that?
That was 1993.
Okay. So 1992, in November of 92, that was my first year bowling in the men's worlds. So okay. I bowled the singles, and my mom's boyfriend gave me the $100. Said, "Here, you really need to go bowl the singles," because I wasn't going to bowl. I didn't have the $100. You know, I was 20, 21 years old. I was working, 30 hours a week at McDonald's and trying to go to school to become a cop. I didn't have any money, and he was like, "You're going to bowl. Here's the $100." And I said, "All right." So I went and bowled, and I bowled like a 90-something my first string, and then I ended up with 667, qualified 31st, made the cut, beat Gary Winton back in the first thing, and then bowled Dave Dupuis in the second string. And the only thing I can remember was I heard him say something to the effect of, before we even started, was, "Who the hell's this kid? Good, I'm going to move on to the next round." And I didn't know any better, and I won. And I ended up going to the Final Four, where I bowled some guy named, Jeff Atkins. You ever heard of him?
Ooh,
I hear he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he taught me a little.
Of the 2,814 that he bowled at Easter.
He taught me a little lesson, that one. Yeah. But it was just funny. That was my only real. Anyway, Craig,
I'm gonna break the record this year, Craig. I'm gonna break it.
You going 25? You going 25 strings to get to 2,800?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
You have to hit 1407 and then 1408 to beat it.
I got it. I got this.
That's amazing.
I went
to see it.
I think I went like 14, 10 my first year or second year, the first 10, and then died the second half and only finished like 6th, I think, or something. Yeah.
The crazy thing, and I don't want you to do this, but for years, I brought 2 sets of balls up with me, 2 7s for the front 10 and 2 6s for the back 10. And I couldn't tell the difference when I was throwing the 2 6s because obviously I was a little tired. So they felt the same.
Craig, I always have 2 sets of balls in my bags. And then I have 4 sets in my trunk. So I could have 6 different sets of balls on one day. We'll see how I feel.
So we're up to 1993, Craig. Keep going.
Okay, so then it was 16th and 6th and 13th and 4th and 5th, then 23rd. I didn't win any money that year. Then 6th, then 2nd. Okay, I have to talk about that one. Chris Sargent won, and he's one of the greatest bowlers of all time. Obviously, if you've watched him bowl, you can just see it. It's just, he's amazing when he throws the ball.
Yep.
So he bowled 27-10, and I hit 27-03. So keep that in mind. I lost by 7. Now, obviously, he deserved it. He's great. He won like 3 out of 4 or something like that. Great. 4 out of 5 he won, I think. So during that tournament in the 17th string, I was on a double strike. Dropped 9, moved the 4-pin over to close to the gutter. The machine came down and swept it away. So it gave me a strike, but then I had to go correct it and took the 9. So then I have to finish the box from there. And of course, I get a spread eagle, then I punch out the 2-pin, then I punch out the 3-pin, get, a 5 on the second strike and a 6 in the box. So you can realize how many pins I actually lost there, but no worries. I mean, Chris won. I watched the last box. So I lost by 7. So he needed a mark. And he threw a strike in the 200th box that was a total obliteration. And I just turned my back and said, well, he won this one.
I will go to my grave saying Chris is probably the most explosive bowler I have ever seen. Arguably, bar none. Out of all the bowling that I've done, he threw the most explosive ball I've ever seen.
I don't want to equate him to Happy Gilmore, but I'll say this. He threw a ball unbelievable. And then when he learned control, it was over.
Oh,
I mean, he could do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
he and I sat down once. So, I when I talk bowling, and Craig, I talk about you or Olsta or Holt, or Charlie or anyone else. I never look at personalities because I know Chris has a divisive personality. It is what it is. But from a pure bowling standpoint, it's the sheer numbers that he threw.
Oh yeah.
I've only ever seen 1-800 and he threw it, and I got to stand next to him while he did it.
Yeah, I think he's got. I know he's got I think he told me once he's got like a dozen 200, and these are all confirmed, not just I did it in practice or whatever. These are all confirmed, either leagues, tournaments, whatever. He's got like a dozen 200 strings, and he's got like 10 500 series, and it's mind-boggling. I get 2 500, and I bust my ass for those, and the guy's got 8 more of those. Like, holy crap! It's Anyway,
it's funny that the eye test for all of us, we all can see that, that over the years, there's always a group of like 6 or 7 guys that you can say, wow, just watch him bowl, he's incredible.
Yep. Yeah. I would agree to that. So we're up to.
And you're one of them.
Yeah. We're up to second place in.
I don't
know, so then 2002, Bob Whitcomb won, and I finished 22nd, but I spent most of the day watching him bowl. I was like the second bowler, and he was the third bowler, so I would run to the other side of the house to go watch him bowl. Okay, then 5th, then 3rd, then 10th, then 7th, then 1st again in 2007, which was like 14 years after the last one I won. So obviously there's a story for that one too. So what's the lane that's closest to the bar? Is it lane 1?
Lane 1.
Yeah.
It's a
lane
warp
1 is like seriously tilted. Yes, you have it.
The warp one. Yeah.
And 18. It's like bookends.
Yeah. So in like game 15, I bowl a 93, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm cooked. I'm all done. So I'm moving along. So like game 17 or 18. Now Steve Vadney is bowling on that lane, and he's currently leading. But Jeff Surratt and John Zappi at the time are both all involved. So there's 4 of us that are closely within 10, 15 of each other. So sure enough, Steve Vadney bowls 97 on that lane. So like the light bulb went off. I'm like, I'm back in it again, because he did the same thing I did.
Yeah.
So all 4 of us went down to the 20th game, and fortunately I bowled like 165 the 20th string and ended up winning by like 12. Because Vadney threw 155. So it was crazy, just crazy.
So, Craig, I got to ask, because I know you're a student of the game, and I know you're a numbers guy. I know numbers fascinates you when it comes to bowling and baseball and basically all stats and things like that.
Yeah.
Would you say that the numbers would dictate or would show that a person that's, and I'm going to use Easter as a prime example, because everybody's bowled 19 strings at this point. Everybody's exhausted. Everybody's tired. You're looking up and you're within striking distance or you're leading. Would you say the numbers show that last string is usually one of the higher strings that the leader or those that's chasing that are going to bowl?
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, because you're so involved. Yes. That last string seems so important to you. It's like you're totally focused on what you're doing. You don't think of anything else even. And you're even aware of what the other people are doing around you that are close to you too. You can kind of see them off to the side, or of course you got 5 people behind you telling you that Jeff Atkins bowled 163 the last string, something like that. So that always happens.
Calvin, would you say that was you last year?
Was I what? Sorry.
Oh, thanks for paying attention.
I was answering messages from fans. They were asking me to ask questions, so I'm just saying no. We're gonna let Craig talk. So
I can vouch for him. I was there watching. I was going back and forth between him and Timmy, so he knew how close he was, and Timmy knew how close he was.
Okay.
Timmy knew exactly how Calvin was doing in the last string. He knew exactly.
I mean, I was always one, and Brian can attest to this, is that I always knew where I stood in a tournament or league or whatever it is. I always knew. Bull and anchor. I knew what I needed. It didn't matter if it was the 5th box or the 10th box. I just knew where the match stood. For me, I needed to know. Would you say you were like that too? That you just knew?
You're always aware of kind of where you are. Actually, I have a really good story for that too. During Easter, I think I had like a 1297 after 10, and I was probably in 4th or 5th, and bowled 425 coming out after the meal break. And I was thinking, wow, okay, this is great. I'm back in it. Well, little did I know that Jeff Surratt was already ahead of me, and he bowled 475 those 3. So I fell 50 more pins behind. And I gave up. I said, okay, he's got this. See you later.
Yeah. That was sort of like me this year or last year, I guess, because I think I was 13th or 14th, and I came out after the break and had 142, 174, 110 or something like that. So I was like, okay, I get a chance now, and then just kept rolling, and I did the nice 93 or something in the 16th game, and then I was like, all right, that's over, and I basically was just like, you know what, just going up and throwing the ball and seeing, and then had 440 the 17, 18, 19. So it was like you throw that bad game, but if you throw a couple good games after that, you give yourself another chance. Like it's never over. Nobody's going to be consistently 100 except for some guys who did, but nobody's going to consistently throw 140 in your face. So you throw a good triple, you got a chance. You get yourself right back into it.
And when you enter something like that enough times, there's obviously victory and there's failure. There was one year I had a 58 pin lead with 3 strings to go. And during the 3 strings, I think I hit 319 and ended up finishing 5th. But during that period, I remember talking to Bill Treeful, and I'm saying, my mind knows what to do, but my body is not listening.
Yeah.
It just won't throw the ball the way I want it to. And I was trying as hard as I could, but I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, that happens.
So where else we at? We're at Craig winning.
No, it was Craig second. Wasn't that the one he lost?
No, that's when he won, he said.
No, 2007 was the last one.
That's
That's from. And then Hollett won the next year. I finished 14th, and then 4th in 2009, and that's the last sheet that I have. So
okay,
I haven't really come that close lately because, God, I'm old. So maybe the top 10 a few times, but not really close to winning. No.
Craig, I've had a couple of people ask me this question, and they also wanted me to ask you, and I am going to ask it. Do you find yourself enjoying bowling more now as you're older? Still competitive, but maybe not at the level that you were, 20 years ago. Do you find yourself enjoying it more now?
I would have to say yes, because I get less frustrated now because I realize that I can't be like the old Craig. I'm just kind of moving along.
Craig.
I mean, I still average 118 or 119, so I'm obviously still having fun. But
well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone doubts the ability of you at, what are you, 60, 61?
62, gonna be 63 May 1st.
Oh God, you're old. Okay.
Yeah.
I was giving you a little bit of credit there. So I don't think anyone truly doubts that ability, especially with the money on the line with one string. I mean, Craig Holbrook you got a lot of experience to draw from.
Well, talk about Friday nights this year. Bobby Witt was a little bit hurt. John Winchell was going to miss some early weeks because of job related. So Zappy comes up to me and he goes, Craig, you want to bowl last? I'm like, what are you, out of your mind? What are you, crazy? No, I'm not supposed to be there. But I've gone the whole year bowling last, and I haven't screwed it up. We're in 3rd, so it's
haven't screwed it up.
I want to piggyback on this Easter thing. So I'm going to ask a question, and it's going to be a loaded question because I already know the answer. But we're going to have a little quick discussion. And I hope Lexi doesn't get mad at me, but we're gonna bring it up because I think this is a valid point. So, Craig, you are not bowling this year, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why you're not bowling is because you didn't get your money in time, correct?
I didn't make a decision in the right amount of time. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was kind of tweaking little hip injuries, so. But Lexi's great, and Matt Susi actually was holding a spot for me for the longest amount of time until they actually really did fill it at 102.
So, I want to say something clear, and I hope everyone is crystal clear when I say this. This is not a shot at Lita Lanes or Lexi. I think Lexi does a phenomenal job, and I think she's
like royalty there. Yes,
I think she is one of the top proprietors in this game. Period, bar none. End of story. The stuff that she's done to help bring the game back, and I'm going to say it's bringing the game back, has been phenomenal. So I don't want anyone to think this is a shot at her or anyone at Lita Lanes at all. My personal opinion is I feel that anyone that has won this tournament should have an automatic entry into future tournaments. Now, they still have to pay, but they should have a spot until they say, I'm not bowling. And maybe it's a week before the tournament. Maybe it's, maybe there's a set time frame.
Like a 2-week notice.
Something. Now, granted, Calvin, you brought this up off the air. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first year it's ever been full.
So we're on the. Yes, I brought that up earlier. We're on uncharted territories where it's tough to make the argument that what we're going to make coming up in this conversation. But it's also the other argument of it's never been full, and it's always been first come, first serve, no matter what. So it would be something that, and again, like you said, I'll piggyback off of you, is that this is not an insult. This is not nobody should take any offense to this. Please do not go 2020 human right now. Nobody is insulting Lexi. She does an amazing job. This has never been done before. However, going forward, if we are going to continue to have a full tournament, if people are just doing this as a one-off just to do it, then great. But if this is something that people are going to continue to do every year, then I believe we need to start putting in, like everybody is talking about, this Masters rule or this Masters title on this tournament. And people, they have a rule that the previous money winners from the year before are guaranteed a spot. Perfect. Guaranteed. Then the next one should be previous winners are guaranteed a spot if they want it. And then you can start signing up people. So if, again, next year probably won't be full. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I think there's a lot of people who are doing it just to kind of do it because they've never done it before and they want to do it once before maybe they're done bowling. There's people who are there every year, which are probably a good 50 to 60 of the bowlers that are signed up this year. So if it's going to continue because people have fun and enjoy it, then I am in the opinion of your money winners have your priority. The money winners
right of first refusal.
Yeah, like they are guaranteed. They're your first ones you either message or you accept their payments, whatever you want to do, however you want to control it. Like they have the top 10 or however many we pay, say 15. They have top priority, those 15 spots. Then we go down to the winners. The winners guaranteed spots because they've won it before. And then everybody can sign up after that. So just a food for thought, I guess.
It's always been one of the most highly competitive tournaments. And believe me, I appreciate the 102 entries. That's awesome. But it gets tricky when some of the bowlers are, not competing to win. They're just kind of competing to be there and have fun. I mean, it is fun, but
it's a double-edged sword.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And it's a very slippery slope, and there's no good answer. And I liken it this
Because you
way.
want the entries.
We do, and I've said this before, and I've said it on the show before, and I've said it off air, and I've talked about this before. Is your high level bowlers always want a high entry, a high purse, right? If you're going to bowl, you're bowling to win, you're bowling to make money, and you want to make some money. Well, in order to make the money, you got to have a high purse. In order to have a high purse, you need the entries. In order to get the entries, you have to have a certain amount of bowlers that understand that they may not be bowling to win. Maybe they're bowling to try to cash, or maybe they're just bowling for the experience. And it is a very slippery slope with the game, because we need to encourage those bowlers that, okay, maybe they're 105 average with potential, and they want to get in to see what it's like. Or maybe they're older like me that's never bowled it, and they want to say they bowled it at least once, but they're not as good as they're in the Toby Keith song. They're not as good as they were, but they're as good as they once was. You know what I mean? It's hard. And there's no,
in the early years too, you used to have to like draw a lane, so you didn't necessarily know who you're going to bowl with.
I wish they would bring that back, especially now that it's full. I think they should do the lane draws the night before. I don't think it should be a first come, first serve. I think you should be going in and you should find your name on the list. Lexi can post it the night before. I think it should be it shouldn't, because there were people last year who went in there at like 8 o'clock in the morning before they opened up to put their names down and then went to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Like I was still in bed at 8 o'clock in the morning.
There is strategy involved also.
Absolutely.
You can set your little card on lane 3 or 4, and the 20 strings, you will not get to 1 and 2.
Which is exactly why I think it should be just a random draw, because people are doing that.
So I put this up on the screen, Mark, because that's exactly what I was talking about. We need bowlers of all calibers to have high purses, unless your high caliber bowlers want to pay, a $500 entry and have a limited field.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to pay a $500 entry. I like my money. I like to keep my entry as low as I can, but try to win as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I gotta say, Mark, you're absolutely right. Your money is just as good, and I hope you didn't take offense at what I was saying, because what I was trying to impart was, out of 102 bowlers, not all 102 are going to have a chance to win.
No.
I hate to say it that way, but it's true. But I love the fact that there's 102 bowlers.
Absolutely.
It is awesome.
Because your person that finishes 102nd may get a little, they may get a little tweak on this and be like, well, damn, that was fun. And now they're going to go practice.
Yeah.
And now the next year they come back and they're 60th.
Yeah. And they're
like, okay, I'm seeing gains. And then the next year they come back and they're 20th. Now,
they're gonna have fun, but on Tuesday they're going to be sore.
Yeah.
You know what, Craig? I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell everybody, and I do it straight in the face. I'm never sore after the 20 stringer. I'm more sore doing 560s and everything, because it's stop and then start and then stop and then start and then stop and then start. Where 20 stringers, just 20 strings. You're good. You're done. You're out of there. You don't have to come back the next day. Your body is still kind of, it might be a little. I've had a sore left shoulder, which I still don't understand, and I don't know how anybody can explain it to me, that I have a sore left shoulder when I'm a right-handed bowler, and my arm. If you watch
picked up too many bowling balls.
Yeah, if you watch me bowl, my arm, other than the swinging, that could be what it is. But other than that, my arm doesn't move from my side when I go to throw the ball. So I don't know. But other than that, I find it better. I find the 20 string is, I'm getting to that next. And that's going to be
give this simple explanation to the 20 stringer. If you bowl in a 3-man league that bowls 5 strings, because there is 3 to a lane when you bowl in the 20 stringer, you have to do that 4 times. in the same day.
Yeah.
Just think about that. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I love it. I just
Nico,
wished I'd have done it. That's all.
Well, you can do it next year, Tim, after you're
I know,
healed.
look, as I told Brian, I don't necessarily miss the bowling. I really don't. I miss the competition.
Yeah.
And I miss the people. I do miss the people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the friendships are the best.
That's what I say. That's what I say all the
do.
time. I'm not here for the bowling. I'm sore all the time. My fingers are blowing out all the time. I don't want all this stuff. I do it because I love bowling and I love the people and I love the competition.
So I'm going to give Craig the ultimate compliment that I can give someone. I wished I could have been like him 30 years ago. And what do I mean by that? It means that when I first met Craig was 1992. It was my first year in the Worlds. I didn't bowl the Mass Tour. I'd never bowled out of the state of Maine other than the juniors in Portsmouth. That was it. I'd always bowled in the state until the Worlds. The Worlds was in Bangor, so I never got to bowl against Craig, Tom Olsa, any of those guys. I'd only heard about them or seen a tape of them on the old Channel 5 if I was down visiting a friend, like in the southern part of the state, and we put a VCR in. Kids, a VCR was something that was used. I'd have you Google VCR and VCR tape and see what I'm talking about.
VHS tape.
Oh, VHS tape. Sorry. So I will say this. The first time I met Craig was 92 in the Worlds. I watched him bowl. I had a great week. I averaged 132 that week. Best I've ever bowled. I bowled every string. I was top 10 in average. A kid that knew nothing. With an attitude, that kicked ball returns, that swore, that was hyper, that jumped around, and whatever. Craig took the time to actually talk to a kid he had no idea who he was. And I'll never forget it, Craig. I won't, because that was when I knew that I could compete, but I knew I had to be better on the lanes as a person. So that's my everyone should be like Craig. Talk to everybody.
31 years old then. Ooh, I had a wealth of knowledge.
Hey, you had 10 more years of experience than me.
Yeah.
He'd already thrown more strings than some people had their entire life.
Yep. 31. So let's talk real quick because I do have some more topics that I'd like to move on. If Craig wants to stay on more than an hour, I would love to have him on for a little bit longer. Seeing as we're at the 50+ minute.
This is fun.
Good.
Yeah. So Nico, it's not that I don't like that because everybody does enjoy picking their own lane mates to bowl with. It's not that at all. It's what the problem is that if you don't get there on time, you are possibly at a disadvantage because you have to bowl on lane 1 and 2, which are warped. And I've never really had a problem with it. I'm pretty sure I went 122, 131, I think, on 1 and 2 this year. So it's a lane is a lane. Listen, we have lane 1 and 2 at Fair Lanes, which is the absolute worst lanes in the world. Right. And I went 202 on that. I had 431 one of the matches I threw, and I think I had 412 the other match. They're terrible lanes. One of them sideways as well. I'm finding now that my ball is actually tailing over to the right. That's how much it's tilted. So it's just the advantage of people getting there early to pick their lane, and they don't have to bowl in lane 1 and 2. Especially with a full tournament now, I think it should be a random, just like the Worlds. When you bowl the World Singles, you don't get to pick who you bowl with and which draw. You don't get the early draw or the afternoon draw. You go and you pick a stick and you go to that lane and you bowl. It doesn't matter who your teammates are. Like, you're bowling, your whole team could be bowling in the World Singles, and you don't bowl with any one of them on any shift. You could be I bowled by myself in the second shift. All my teammates bowled the first shift. You don't get that option. You don't get to pick that at the World Singles. So why should this be any different? Why should you be able to pick which lane you go with and pick who you bowl with? This is a competitive singles tournament. Plain and simple. Everything should be random. My opinion.
Brian, weigh in.
I think it should be a random draw, honestly, just for fairness' sake. Really, it's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Craig?
I see the point of getting in a group with your friends and, having fun in the 20 strings, and competitive too. Like if I bowled with Bobby and Zappy together, that would be fun.
Right.
But, the strategic part of it worries me a little because I've seen them run down there and put their cards on 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. So they never get to 1 and 2, which is a little bit of a concern, but it's not that big of a deal.
Somebody, well, no, and like I said, it really isn't. But somebody who ends up on 11 and 12 has to finish on 1 and 2. And what if they're in the running and the lane 1 is off to the side, and now you're basically screwed. But somebody who's behind you didn't have to bowl in those lanes. So
I like this. I like this idea right here.
Ooh. Okay. I don't mind that at all.
I think
that's a good idea.
I think I think this right here. I like this.
Yeah, I like that too. Candlepin corner.
That's the best idea.
Yep. You get to bowl with who you want to bowl.
Yeah.
But you're not picking picking your lane that you want to start on. It's luck of the draw.
Yeah. Lexi, if you're listening, that's what we're doing. Easter Sunday. You get to pick who you want to bowl with, but when they come up and they're ready to pick a lane, you have a piece of paper or
it's Corey, by the way.
Stick. Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
He's just posted. A popsicle stick, and they pick the lane. So if they want to bowl with their friend, I like that. That's a happy medium. I like it. We're ready.
Yes.
I like that. Now, are they using? They're not using all 36 lane. Wait, 36.
No, they usually go 1 to 18, I think, or 1 to. They did it last year. I think it was 1 to 16, and then, or 1 to 11. Sorry, 1 to 12, and then I think they went 18 to the far end. They left like the 7 lanes on the left side open for open bowling.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what they'll do because they only need 13 or 14 lanes. And how many are on the other side? I think there's.
It's 18 and 18, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it 18 and 18?
It's 36 lanes.
Okay, I thought there was more. I thought there was more on the right side.
No.
Okay. So I think that's what they do is they leave like the last 7 or something or 9 or whatever for open bowling.
Well, except for with 30. Well, no, with 102, that's
20.
34 times 3.
34.
That's 34. That's 34
Yeah.
lanes. So there's only 2 open lanes that you got to use for breakdown lanes. So in my case, I'd either use 1 and 2 or 17 and 18 as breakdown lanes.
Yeah.
Again, Lexi knows her lanes.
Yeah.
Susie they know their lanes. I'm going to let them do what they do. They've done it for a long time. They've done a great job with it, and they've made a ton of changes. I really am. I am hopeful this new scoring system is going to speed up than their old scoring system. This brand new.
I think Augusta's putting in the same system.
I believe so. Either have they done it yet, Brian, or
they haven't yet. So Mark says he's thinking before the 560. I hope.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of automatic scoring, but if you're gonna have it, I really hope they have it so it's not automatic pin reset.
I like it if you could turn off the automatic resets.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to. It's good if the pins. I mean, you can just go, but the automatic resets really. Yeah. I've actually quit Diet Bowler Emma because of that. Because a ball rolling back or a pin rolling out counts as a ball and it resets on you, and you have to redo the box. We missed playoffs at a 560 for that reason, and no.
So, Craig, I've got a question that's been brought to me that we've asked everyone before, and we've all answered it. Who's your top 5 of all time? And you can put yourself on there if you have the
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, call it your Mount Rushmore only with 5.
I'm not on my own Mount Rushmore. So obviously Ulster, because I've bowled with him and against him, and from what I've seen, unbelievable. But Peter Flynn is actually like my almost like idol. He's a little bit older than me, so in like the kids tournaments, when I was in like the 12 to 15 age group, he was always in like the 16 to whatever. He was always one age group in front of me. So the things he did as a youth bowler were just incredible. I mean, of course, he was lefty too. So
Yeah.
And the funny thing after that, I hate to leave people out because there's so many great ones, but I'm going to throw Carrington, Atkins, Lipke. Don't forget Jeff Surratt for a few years too. I mean, he was just crazy good. So
It looks like he's starting
Paul
to kind of make
Berger.
a comeback here.
So Jeff and I have
I'm sorry too, Calvin. I'm not including any of the Canadian bowls because there's tons of them that I got to see over the years in the Worlds. My first year in the Worlds was 87, so I've seen a lot of them.
So you've only missed
so many good bowlers.
1 year? 2 years?
Well, it started in 85. So 85, 86, I missed. And I missed 88 also.
Okay.
Because
so you went up
Powers.
Yeah, that whole tiff with Charlie.
Yeah.
So I've struggled as well, Craig, trying to come up with my Mount Rushmore and stuff because every time I'm like, oh my God, I left so-and-so out. How can I leave so-and-so out? I struggled when someone asked me that because I had Charlie, Ulster, you, and Chris Sargent as my Mount Rushmore. And someone asked me about Peter Flynn, and I said, the one thing that Craig has was longevity with the game at a very high level for a lot of years. Where Peter had got hurt, like he had that brain injury. So he missed a long time with the game. And, I hate to say he was never the same afterwards, but he wasn't. That's the only differentiator I had between you and him was.
Can I give you guys my explanation of me?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. I believe at no time you could just say that, like, I was the best bowler at the time. I was always included in like the 5 or 6 or 7, but nobody ever said, like, wow, look at him. He's incredible. But, I mean, I've been good for like 40 years. So it kind of just, like even good to very good for 40 years. And I did win my share of things. There's no doubt about that. But I never was like, oh my God, like,
I know you won a knockout one year at the Worlds. You weren't going to bowl in. I can remember you warming up and being like, nah, I'm not going to bowl. Not going to bowl. It was in Bangor. I'm not going to bowl.
Yes.
And then we draw lanes. I go, I thought you were going to bowl. I'm going to try it. And then he wins it. He wins it.
Yeah. That's crazy. Jonathan Boudreau talked me into that one.
So I've had some people ask, and Nico, I'm doing this for you, and they would like to know about the match where Tommy threw that triple to win. Because and I know we've had this conversation that some of your most memorable matches are those that you don't win. And I think that match right there is what a lot of people solidified Tommy as being one of the greatest, if not the greatest bowler. Because it was done.
So that's in the early 90s. And we were actually on the same team. We were on O'Loughlin's with Billy Treeful and Mikey Morrill and those guys. So the weekend before that, they used to tape those on either a Monday or a Tuesday. I forget which day it was. But the weekend before that match, we bowled together in a doubles tournament in Sudbury, and we made it all the way to the finals. I think we lost to Carrington and probably Ashline in the finals. So 2 days later, we're bowling each other on Channel 5. So we were actually friends. We both obviously knew how good each other was. So yes, it was actually a lot of fun. And I'm going to make this statement saying that whenever I was on those TV shows, I always treated them as like a game show, like I was on The Price is Right. They're actually paying me money to do this, to have fun. So the only people I didn't want to disappoint, I didn't care about the other bowlers. I cared about my own family. Like, the wife or my sister or, you know, an uncle, it was, oh, I thought you were really good at bowling. So I never really wanted to bowl bad because I didn't want that statement to come out.
Oh, God, that's great. So did you think, I'm going to ask about, because we've all done it. We've all been bowling great, and we have one box where we have a break. And I'm talking about that 8-pin drop in the 9th box of 3rd string.
With the 1 and the 3, I think it was.
1-3.
Yeah.
When you let go of that ball,
I thought I made it.
You thought you did. Okay, I was gonna ask, because your body language said. I look back and I'm like, he made that. He thought he made it. Yeah.
And I think if they had slow motion replay, I think the head pin even wiggled. That's how close the ball was to hitting it. Probably the air even made it wiggle a little.
Oh.
Yeah, and then of course I threw a strike on top of it, so I lost 10 pins there.
Yep. And I think if you do well, if you make the spare and throw the strike, he can't catch you with that triple, right? He needed a 4-bagger.
But then one of the greatest shows in the history of bowling never would have happened. So all good. It's fine.
Yeah. It's funny. So I've watched that. Obviously, I love the game. I've watched that clip a bunch of times. Oh, nope. Don't be jumping up on that. We almost lost the show, folks.
And if you watch it at the end, I don't look disappointed, right? I'm actually I'm like, wow, look what you just did. You know, one of those things.
You're like it was like oh my God, I had a front row seat to watch that.
Yeah.
So that's, and I will say this, and we're gonna move on here. The Mixed Worlds in Bangor in 2019, again, is another one of my most favorite matches I've ever had, ever in the history of evers.
Can you tell me what happened?
I'm going to say it. It's a 1-string roll-off. It was like 842 degrees in there. And I watched a friend of mine do something that you just don't see a lot. And he throws a bad first ball in the 9th box of down 17, picks it up, and throws a missile of a strike on it. And I just turned around and said, unfortunately, we're going to lose this, because he's going to put 8 on it, and we're going to lose. And I was the first one up there to congratulate him, because was I sad we lost? Of course I was. But I was so damn happy that my friend had done that. That was so cool. And it just reminds me, Craig, of watching you when Tommy did that you got to witness, have a front row seat to greatness at a level that a lot of us just don't get to be.
I don't throw triples, so I'll never do it.
Oh, here's a good question. Here you go, Craig. Who are your top 5 in no particular orders of Canadian bowlers you like bowling against?
God, that's really hard. Obviously, Hollett and Henderson. Actually, Calvin, I'll throw him in there. Boy, that's hard. I might need help with that, because even like Lorne Chesser way back when.
Yeah. Did you bowl against Hal?
Huh?
Did you bowl against Hal Peterson?
Worlds, probably.
Hal Peterson, yes. Well, excellent. Yep.
Yeah. Candace Snow.
Yep.
Tony LeBlanc.
Yeah, he averaged over 130 one year in the Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the year they won. He averaged 137. He was high average.
How about any of the A+ bowlers and any of the McLaughlin bowlers? I'll just go with all of them.
Craig, I think you and I are probably on this panel here, truly the lucky ones that really got to bowl most of them. A+ is still doing it. They're still doing it. Yeah. But to bowl against McLaughlin in 98, 99, up through 2005, 2006.
05, they were my first Worlds match ever. I was 19, and that was how I got introduced to the Worlds, was bowling MT&T the very first day. They started out 16 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, they had no holes in that lineup.
No.
You know? They They didn't. And when it came down to, the playoffs, it was like a whole different team showed up than the round robin.
Yeah. Is it them that has the record? The 70-2 or whatever they went? Did they lost one?
No, that was Craig. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the 93 Fredericton team?
Oh God, you're gonna kill me on that one. My memory's not that good, but yeah.
I want to say, Calvin, it was the 93 Fredericton team.
I'll check the books. I think I have the 93 book.
Was that the first year the Canadians won?
Yes.
Yeah. They beat New Hampshire All-Stars in the finals. I knew that because New Hampshire All-Stars beat us in the Final Four and then had to bowl against the Canadians.
Yep.
That's on. You can see that. That's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
God, let's see.
Donald Flaherty, Pat Burchell,
Davey Somerton, Paulette, Henderson.
Hollett and Henderson didn't bowl together the first few years.
Well, no, yeah. The Tim Kerrigan was on one of them.
Kerrigan,
yeah.
I love hearing those names.
Tony McLaughlin,
obviously it's his team.
yeah. Man, he was a good bench guy. He'd just come in and be like, 9-drop, make it. Okay.
Yeah.
Is your break over yet? Like, look at the guy that just came out.
Yeah.
When Hollett joined them, it was.
Well, that's when they went 4 in a row, wasn't it? Because they went one in like something, and then they lost 1 year, and then went 4 in a row after, I think, or something.
We beat them in 2001 in Halifax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
I think they went 2000 and then lost in 2001.
No, they lost in 2000. No, 2000 was Vacation Land.
Was
the
it?
The first Maine team to win.
Maybe they went the other way.
Yeah, I think it was 90. I think it was 99 is when they won.
The trophy?
Yeah.
Read off the plaques. Whoever's got the trophy. Who won this year?
So.
Oh yeah, losers.
Craig, I'd like to do this. So we'll end the show here in a few minutes, but we'd love to have you back on. Sometime soon, so we can talk. Not just Easter, but we can talk about anything at that point with bowling. I've got a ton of questions that, frankly, I knew I was never going to get a chance to get to. It just wasn't going to happen. So
we got to get some Easter picks real quick.
Oh yeah.
We got to get to Craig. Who's your pick for Easter? I don't know who's bowling, so this will have to be.
Boy, I didn't see a list either.
I have a list written down at work. I have a list of who says they were in on the post, but I don't have any because I actually asked Lexi for this, and she said they never.
It's actually too hard to pick, but I will say this: no one ever gets lucky winning Easter. It is totally earned. It is totally an athletic event. I don't care what anybody says. You have to be in really good shape. Because you have to be competitive for all 20 strings. Like I said, nobody gets lucky winning Easter. Nobody.
So
if you look at the total list from all the years, they're all good bowlers.
Yeah.
Or some of them are the greatest ever.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say this. There's two things I'm gonna say. If Jeff Surratt throws a 400 on Friday night,
which he's had 2 in a row, I believe.
He's had 3 in a row.
Okay.
So if he goes 400 on Friday night, he is my pick to win Easter. Coming in with a ton of confidence, throwing a great ball. I'm gonna say the winning score 23-25.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, 25-25. Jesus.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I was like 23-25.
No,
man.
I'm sorry. 25-25.
That was my statement last year, is if anybody broke 2,500, they would be very close to winning. And that was exactly it. I think 2506 won it, something like that.
2506, and I had 2499.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 2504.
If you break 2,500, you are in that select group that's going to be really close. That's 1250 twice.
Yep, I'm going 25-25. I'm going Jeff Surratt wins if he throws 400 on Friday.
We're not parlaying this,
Yeah,
O'Donnell.
this
I
is-
am,
yeah,
parlay-
this is not a-
I am
no,
parlaying it.
No, this is not a parlay section here.
I'm picking the only guy out of the four of us that's bowling. Calvin, it's your year. Go win the thing.
I'll try my best, man.
Should I'm going to give Calvin my Kansas City Royals thing. They were close to the playoffs, then they
Yeah.
lost in the World Series, and then they won the World Series.
Yeah,
So you finished second last year?
I did.
So you were close. So okay, you're going to be close.
We'll see. I'll try my best. That's for sure.
Not easy.
No, it's not. I don't want to pick myself. I was told I'm not allowed to pick myself when in the pool that we're doing. I'm not allowed. So I said, all right, I'll give somebody else my money then. I will. Oh God, I don't want to. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I just don't want to. But if he can keep a level head, Josh Daly with a 25-12. But that's if he can keep a level head. If he Josh Daly's it, he's going to lose again, and he'll finish behind me. But we'll see.
Interesting.
189. Ooh, that's tough. High single. That's a tough. Even if you go 125, that's a tough house. I think there was only
172.
one. Yeah, I think there was only one 180 last year.
Was that Timmy?
No,
Did Timmy throw a 180 last year when he won?
I don't think so. I had 172. I think somebody beat me, but I don't remember who. I don't remember who beat me. But anyways,
What is that? So I went before we go, Craig. I've got to ask, and I know this is a bone of contention with you that you don't have a 200, which still boggles my mind that you don't have a 200, and Gary Carrington never threw a 200.
I don't have 200 in any bowling sport. Duck pin, 10 pin, 5 pin, backyard bowling, little plastic pins with plastic balls bowling. No, nothing.
I have a higher single
So
than Craig in two different forms of bowling. Oh my God.
yeah.
I have a 210 pin and duck pin.
So
And the funny thing is with Facebook and things like that, when people post their little scores when they hit 200, every time a 200 goes out, I cringe. I'm like, oh, there goes another one.
and there's been like 3 this year for you to look at.
Yeah.
how many 199s?
None. 197.
Seriously?
19 strings in the 190s, but only one string that I actually had a shot at 200. I had 191 in a ball at Park Place, and I hit the right pocket and left up to 5, 7, 8, 9, and not one of them even moved for 197. Yep.
And you knew what you needed, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Just like Josh Daly did the other night.
All the 190s I got were all like spare strike, like 172 with a box, spare strike 192. Just getting in there. Never like a dominant 190 where I got like a 2 fill for 196. Never had that happen. Never.
So this is going to make you mad. I have 3 199s and 2 198s, along with my 5 200.
And you have a 1399 at a house that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, but I got a bunch of 40s. I'm pretty sure Craig has more 14s than me. So
I have no idea how many.
Yeah.
But I do have a funny thing I can say, Easter related. If I have 19 strings over 190, and some of them are in the 190s, so if I bowled 20 strings, I have a 189. So if I bowled 20 strings, I'd be over 3,800 with all my highest scores.
That'd be a good day. That'd be a good day at the Easter Classic.
That'd be a great day. So I will say, quick story, Craig. I've had on 2 of my 199s, one was a spare 2.
Oh
God!
With the 1-5 as the 2, and one was a double strike 2.
Oh,
with the 1-5 as a 2.
Killer.
So I'm sure I don't know why it shocks me, because I know you've got, the 3 500s, you've got 800, right?
No, 781.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Even on your 14s or something like that, you never went 800 on your front five?
Nope.
Okay. Chris Jones just said Millis 10th Junior coming up. Craig's getting his 200.
That would be the spot to get it, is Millis.
Would you retire from the game if you threw you 200?
No. I do want to rent an apartment in Millis, though, so I can bowl there like in 3 leagues.
I will say this before we go. I got to shout out Danny and Caitlin for everything they've done at Millis. And I know I've shouted them out the last couple of shows, but I just don't think people realize how much they've done for the game down in that area of Massachusetts and pretty much the game itself. Is it a fast house? Sure. But you got to earn it.
Oh, yeah. Still have to head pin.
We laugh about Park Place back in the day. It's not that fast. It's not. No, it isn't. It's not Newport fast.
But those, they have many tournaments they hold there, but those Outrun the Bear tournaments are just, they're a blast. I love those. Being able to buy back in after you have a crappy string, it's awesome.
I wish
you can only do it a few times, but
no, but I wish more. I wish we had thought about that back in the day, Craig. Because how many times have in Calvin and Brian? How many times have we thrown a really decent, like 3 or 4 strings, and then all of a sudden you come out and throw like a 90 something or a 10 something?
Always.
And then you come back and you're like, you come back and you follow it up with a 140. You know what I mean? So having that buyback, if you didn't have it, you'd be out with a 1-0.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I think that concept is. I think it's a great concept. I think it's really done. If you really think about it, look at what it's done, especially with the streaming now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you throw that in there. Craig, we are absolutely 100% having you back on the show soon. And when I say soon, I mean, within the next month or so, because
sure.
We gotta talk more about what you've seen.
I won't have as many props on that one. I wanted to have fun with this one tonight, just to throw it out there.
Well, Craig, as you can see behind me, I will go like this. I am the king of props in my office. So
I'm jealous of that Hall of Fame poster you have there, though. That is nice.
Did they not give you one when you got in?
I think I got one. No.
I would talk to Lexi or someone, and see if you can't get a copy. Because it's obviously it's the most up to date one. I just think it's cool. Means a lot to me. That's why I got that right there too. So
plaque, yep. Yeah, it's above my fireplace. It's one of the only trophies I have there upstairs.
I love my wife dearly, but she won't let me put that up in the living room where I want to put it. So it stays down here in my office. So we're gonna wrap it up. Craig, thank you again for I made the joke and someone obviously took it wrong, but I made the joke of thank you for finally agreeing to the contract and.
And I mean, if you want to sign like a multi-year deal where we do this every 2 weeks, I'm not opposed to it.
If Craig wanted to be a regular contributor and just happened to get the invite every 2 weeks and just happened to be on the show every 2 weeks, I'm not saying no to that. I'm just saying.
I'll definitely be on again, no doubt, because I had a lot of fun. It was great.
That's great. I'm happy to hear that. Folks, you can please send your questions, comments, concerns. You can send them to rippingtherackpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter.
Big Booty Brian.
You can find Brian on OnlyFans at Big Booty Brian. I hear it's free right now for a limited time only.
Yeah, the subscriptions aren't
Nothing.
flowing in. He needs
money for WrestleMania. All right.
needs some clientele.
Brian, where else can they? If you would please do the disclaimer and where else they can find us. That would be great.
I have a fancy boom arm now, so I can get right in here and I can say, you can find us on Anchor, Breaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and the views and expressions of Ripping Their Eye podcast this week are those of Tim, Calvin, Brian, and our wonderful guest, the Hall of Famer, Craig Holbrook. If you don't like what we have to say, listen to something else, but listen to us too. Thank you.
As a reminder, folks, with YouTube, please like and subscribe, and hit the like button and all that good stuff. Craig, thank you again. Really appreciate it. And Calvin, good luck at Easter. I'm not going to wish you to come in second, but my pick was Jeff, so
I'll split it with Jeff if he wants. We'll go 1-2.
I'll make sure I come to say hello to you, Calvin. I'll be there for a few hours.
It'll be my favorite time, Craig. I guarantee it.